Hello, I trust your week has started well. It's been a long weekend for some of us, and we are well rested and looking forward to beginning a new week. So, this week we're going to look at how to save a lot of money by actually saving a little. Sounds interesting. Eh? My name is Triza Kuka. I'm the lead coach at Pinnacle Executive Coaching, and welcome to this week's video. So, as you know, we've been talking about the Kaizen Concept. The Kaizen Concept is basically a Japanese technique where people make small incremental improvements over time. And when it comes to leadership development, we are always learning. We are constantly learning. And one of the big problems people face when they are trying to achieve their goals is that they want to see certain results immediately. There is something much more appealing about the notion of being richer in a week or being in a better shape in just 1 month. Unfortunately, this is not how it works most of the time, at least in not all cases. Rather, in order to see the results you want, you have to put in consistent effort, and sometimes it's boring. So you put in consistent boring effort on a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly, on a yearly basis, and over the long run you are able to see tangible results. Saving money is a perfect example of this. Everyone wants to know, how can I grow my money? How can I do many other things? What I would say is that if you want to achieve a kind of success within a short time, you have to see if you can be able to do it incrementally. So let's look at what we can do as leaders to develop ourselves. I just wanted to touch on 3 areas: money goals, time management, because we are leaders and time is a new asset every single day, and relationships. So we will begin with the money goals. When you're talking about money goals, or basically we are talking about budgeting, you have to see the whole process, the whole picture of what you want, and really get clarity. When you are talking about clarity in terms of money, you need to know how much are you spending and where is this money going. You know, some people have a very vague knowledge of actually where their money goes, how it is used, how it's pilfered, if any pilferage is happening, or wastage if they are spending it on non-essential items. So drawing up a budget usually helps you to visualize everything in a grander scale. Then you can be able to know, I am spending X amount of money in this category, and if I am able to make a cut across, let's say reduce a certain expense by $10 in a month, then I'll be able to achieve a saving, and therefore I'll be able to make small savings, and over time this can generate wealth for you, because you can be able to get a tidy sum of money that you can be able to put into personal development or any other thing. So gaining clarity is something very important that will help you to achieve this kind of success. So what we want you to do is just break it down, and then you can be able to get to where you want to go in a very short time. In a few months, you'll be able to see a tangible, big impact. So let's talk about the second point, which is about leaders and relationships. If we want to improve ourselves as leaders, then we have to work on our relationship. Someone said that leadership is influence, and influence requires a relationship. You can extrapolate leadership as a relationship. Leadership cannot occur without building relationships, that is both internally and externally in an organization or a business. So how can you do this? You can be able to look around at the relations that are near to you and identify patterns. So one piece of advice that you need to think of is being wary of the habits and patterns that you can fall into as a leader. The other thing is just to do some basic diagnostics in your relationships. You can seek to continually find ways to improve your relations with your team, so that now you can be able to pick out areas where you can improve. There are very small ways that we can be able to do it. So I looked at it as relationships also are habitual. People, relationships come from people, and people are habitual. How the habit to set down early in your relationship normally determine how you engage even in the later periods of your relationship. How you, for instance, decide to balance power, the roles each of you will take on at particular times. So you should not do something very early on in your relationship unless it's something that you want to keep doing for the long run. Because sometimes once habits are formed, people take it as a given, a granted kind of operating, and then it becomes difficult to change habits. But of course, habits can be changed if you have the will and the intention to do it. So if you discover within your work relationships there are things that you need to change, you can pick one at a time and then see how to work and modify and improve that. Some of the habits, for instance, just to give examples that you can work on as a leader, is building trusting relationships. Trusting relationships relationships where trust exists are very critical in success in a business, in an organization. So you need to work on establishing trusting relationships. You also need to work on agreeing on the mutual expectations. What roles does each of you play in a relationship, in business or in an organization? Let's say it's between a leader with his team, the team leaders, the other members who form up the team, various departments. You need to have mutual expectations drawn out, clearly spelled out, which define your working relations in order to make your working experience easy. You should also show genuine appreciation when people do something good at work, because that's a way of motivating them to keep doing what they have done that is good and that has given you success. The other thing is challenging and helpful behavior. As a leader, we have to call out that which is not right. It makes us sometimes get into uncomfortable situations, but we have to be able to do it, to be able to call out any unhelpful behavior, so that we can be able to build a rich relationship to the future. So I hope you've gained some few tips about how you can maximize your leadership with the relations around you. Then the last thing that I want us to check today is spending time for maximum impact. As leaders, we'll keep talking about time. It's a daily resource that is awarded to us by God, and how we use that time determines a lot about our success. We want to be efficient and we want to reap maximum benefits in the things that we are doing. So when we apply this Kaizen concept, what are we talking about? We're talking about looking for small changes that we can implement on a big scale that will enable us to maximize our workflow to become more efficient. So it means you are always looking at what is the smallest thing that we can do just to improve or tweak in our operations that can make us become efficient and effective, and what benefits are we going to reap by doing good time management on a daily basis. Of course, one of the benefits we will reap is efficiency and productivity. We will have less stress, we will have more success in life, and we can be able to achieve much more. So some of the aspects that you can look at when you're thinking about efficiency is like a small task, like just having a task schedule. When you have a task schedule, you can actually just eliminate anxiety, because you can be able to know from this minute to the next minute, I'm doing this, and I'm ticking off my list of tasks. So you can always create a schedule for the next day, the previous evening. So the next morning when you enter into your work or your business, you just begin by doing out what is most critical. And if you remember last week, we had looked at the Eisenhower matrix, and we have now learned how to categorize what is urgent and what is important. And we should be focusing on our important but not urgent tasks as a priority when our efficiency is at its peak. So then you can be able to know that you're making tangible progress. Another thing is that you will be able to get more opportunities, and then you will be able to spend less time on very trivial activities that are not adding to your bottom lines. Good time management is a necessary skill for every leader in whatever capacity, and it's a key asset to develop and to have. The ability to prioritize and schedule your work is extremely desirable, and it will help you to be able to achieve success. And success is what we are all looking for as leaders in whatever capacity we have. So people who practice good time management are able to achieve goals and objectives, and they are able to do that in a shorter length of time, which I think is something that you're all looking forward to. So thank you for listening and logging in for today. Please remember to follow me on all our social media channels, and feel free to reach out. Send me an email, send me an inbox, let's chat, or drop a comment on the video and let me know what point you picked out that was helpful to you. Have a great week ahead.